pulsations, fruition, do you know what I mean? Which can only be furthered, of course, by such worded vengeance. I think, I hope, I'm not sure if AI's really got a, divining rod. Let's hit to that shit. Anyway, we were going to talk a little bit about Derek Mahon, who's from the north of Ireland. He seems to be a pretty good poet. I've only read maybe 6 or 7 of his things, but I really like him. I like him a lot. So I think I have a couple of them written down here that I'm gonna try and relay. But first, there's a little bit of Shakespeare, right? Which comes out of Romeo and Juliet. I know it's so hard. It's so hard to get any kind of volume here. I would exclaim the circumstances most proudly and lowly, if Robert Burns wasn't still, trying to strangle me from behind somewhere in the 17th century, I guess. But we'll come back to him now, because he deserves it. He deserves it. Coleridge was always, whatever influence he had, he was always picking up Robert Burns, which I thought was kind of cool, Anyway, so this isn't Romeo and Juliet. So Romeo says, love is the smoke raised with the fume of sighs, being purged, a fire sparkling in lovers' eyes, being vexed, a sea nourished with the lover's tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet, a choking gall, not preserving sweet. Farewell, my cause. I just thought the way he entered that too really was the birth of hip hop, probably. So yeah, big up Romeo for foretelling that whole thing. We might have another couple of wee things. Yeah, here's a William Blake. It's just called Song. I really like this one. I think any sort of poet, especially anybody that's probably finds himself being especially a nature poet would relate to this little number. It goes, how sweet I roamed from field to field and tasted all the summer's pride, till I the prince of lore beheld, who in the sunny beams did glide. He shewed me lilies for my hair, and blushing roses for my brow. He led me through his gardens fair, where all his golden pleasures grow. With sweet May dews my wings were wet, and Phoebus fired my vocal rage. He caught me in his silken net, and shut me in his golden cage. He loves to sit and hear me sing, then laughing, sports and plays with me, and stretches out my golden wing, and mocks my loss of liberty. We've all got a friend like that, don't we? He gets the best crack out of you, but and the next word I did have with this piece I didn't know the meaning of is a remembrancer. So I don't know if Blake was a remembrancer or if his friend was a necromancer, perhaps. Romney apathy, I'm not sure. Yeah, here's a little effort of mine. It's a bit crap, like, you know what I mean, but it says, tarry I will along the northern way, where cold cement blocks house cretins, as in kind of rise, reveal the days. Tarry will I along and further, unto the grinding stones of fate, to lay there my snout and to gaze upon bright gases and the cool night's freeze. Who thought to discard such gems in darkness, carefree or careful? It is hard to say. Is there honour amongst crooks? Is it nice to be nice? Beg not a fool's pardon, nor dare to ask twice. Do you know what I mean? I think this is the difficulty if you're holed up somewhere writing this stuff. You need somebody you can bounce off and say, look, I'm not really sure about this particular passage. What do you think? Go, yeah, right how about this for an idea here? So it's nice to have some poet friends too, isn't it? Here's one called, it's unfinished, called Minor Poet, a Retort. I think somebody had penned as like a diss track against Lewis McNeice. He never got published. Never saw the light of day. Let's see if we can find something else here. Oh, we have to find Derek. Never getting there. Oh, here's some punk poetry, I guess. It goes something like, ordinary people live in bedsits and stand in hallways, listening at the door. Ordinary people peer from windows not lit, with red sacred hearts shining. There are people living in doorways, proprietary folk, entrepreneurs, that have you believe that the whole house was theirs. There are ordinary people breathing in alleys, a sickly gas that is theirs alone and solely. I'm sure they're in the castles too, flaunting hate, regardless that for his head lit up with gold, the king would be ordinary too. Yeah. I don't know if that was a direct attack on the current King Charles, but I don't think so. There's a third draft of that counter diss against Lewis McNeice. I don't know where I happened upon that. But, 2 wee minutes and we'll get to Mr. Maher. Because the rest of it hasn't been all that good, has it? It's not Shakespeare and, Williamsburg and all that there. Some love poems. Like a book of love poems and some insight there. Oh yes, okay. An unborn child, right? So I believe this is Derek Maher. I've already come to the verge of departure. A month or so on, I shall be vacating this familiar room. Its fabric fits me almost like a glove, while leaving latitude for a free hand. I begin to put on the manners of the world, sensing the splitting light above my head, where in silence I lie curled. Certain mysteries are relayed to me through the dark network of my mother's body, while she sits sewing the white shrouds of my apotheosis. I know the twisted kitten lies there sunning itself under the bare bulb, the clouds of goldfish moving around under the shelf. In me, these data are already vested. I feel them in my bones which embrace nothing, for I am completely eccentric, a pandemonium of encumbrances which will absorb me, mind and senses, intricacies of the box and the rat race. I imagine it only. Though they linger around like fingers stretched until the knuckles crack, they cannot dwarf the dimensions of my hand. I must compose myself in the nerve center of this metropolis and not fidget, though sometimes at night when the city has agreed to go to sleep, I keep in touch with it, listening to the warm red water racing in the sewers of my mother's body, or the moth's soft as eyelids, or the brain wiping its wet wings on the window pane. And sometimes too, in the small hours of the morning, when the dead filament has ceased to ring, after the goldfish are dissolved in darkness, and the kitten has gathered itself up into a bowl between the groceries and the sewing, I slip the trappings of my harness to arrange these hollows in a discreet rehearsal, and battering at the concavity of my call, produce in my mouth the words, I want to live. This is my first protest, and shall be my last. As I am innocent, everything I do or say is couched in the affirmative. I want to see, hear, touch, and taste these things with which I am to be encumbered. Perhaps I need not worry, give, or take a day or two. My days are numbered. Gregman, born 1941. As if only every time I copy one of these out, I put down the birth date, but never the actual date of which it was written. I don't know if that was irresponsible or not. Well, here's another one where he's got some Irish written in at the start of it and stuff that I couldn't even approach to enunciate, you know. But I really like the layout of this. It goes, what's called Akil. It says, Chalnai, na Monaco, Tihin Amla. I lie and imagine a first late gleam in the bay, after one more night of erosion and near the grave, then stand and gaze from a window at break of day, as a sheer water skims the ridge of an incoming wave, and I think of my son, a dolphin in the Aegean, a sprite amongst sails, knife bright in a seasonal wind, and wish he were here, where currents walk on the ocean, to ease with his talk the solitude locked in my mind. I sit on a stone after lunch and consider the glow of the sun through mist, a pearl bulb continually fierce. A rain shower darkens the schist for a minute or so, and it drifts away and the slow black patches disperse. Patrick towers like Naxos over the water, and I think of my daughter, work on her difficult art, and wish she follows me now between thrush and clover, wild thyme and satyr, to lift the weight from my heart. The young sit smoking and laughing on the bridge of evening. The birds on a telephone pole notes on a score. A tin whistle squeals and the parlour won't more. It's raining. Her smoke inclined and a wind winds under the door. And I lie and imagine the lights going on in the harbour of White House now, your clear definition at night, and wish you were here to upstage my disconsolate labour, as I glance through a few thin pages to switch off the light. There you go. I've sort of affectionately labelled that one Del Ma. I'm not sure if you guys ever called Del by anybody. The last one I'll read is by Robert Johnson, born in 51, from the Incidents in the Life of Shelley. So this is number 2. I'm not sure, there might have been 7 of these or something. Well, I'll have a little go at it. I'll read a little bit of Shelley, like Shelley, you know. Like Byron Shelley, and all those romantic poets, you know, that get into the mysticism and things like that. Not from our dreams, not from, by the way, he's also called Robert Johnson. You know, a slight difference in spelling, but from a mythical figure from half a century before. Not from our dreams, not from our daft characters, but from somewhere real, the free enclave we know inside but can't annex. Static car messages are picked up from the tiny pirate Radio Shelley. He reads our roads over the air, sends reports from countries claiming to be still at peace, where crops grow, and only the facts are changed to protect their innocence. That is dangerous. Modes. valves buzz and blush and all set on the clear tea table just to have heard his programme talk too loud about it can cause promotion, yet we grab each word. We demand contact with that better word. Yeah, old Robert Johnson, much more than just a blues pioneer. I think that's it. I'd love to squeeze in another one of mine, but I don't know if there's going to be any. Oh, here we go. Right on. This one's called Hold On. This is terrible the contusions. Thank you. These blind intuitive writings inflict on the brain banished to live amongst the brawny, a tongue held in contempt, and a blank holding cell. Oh, what a thing for a scholar to rebel. The most landed strictures on a dead poetic turn, enclosed within fictures, can be more readily discerned. A monk with his music, his books and his pad, with values intrinsic to take good out of bad. Banished, his name tarnished, rinsed by the housewives who tugged at its mention while sharpening their knives. In truth he will flourish upon release with new wings. She does that instantly gonna wonder, hold out till he sings. I'm not sure. Some poet, vocalist right there somewhere. Who's this here? So we'll do one last one. This is a disgustingly long video, but I'm a proud champion of Joan Hewlett. Just because, alright? This one's called An Irishman in Coventry. It goes, a full year since I took this eager city, the tolerance that laced its blatant roar, its famous steeples, and its web of girders, as an inch of the slate hope argued for, and scarcely flung a bitter thought behind me, and all the flaws, the glory and the grace, which ribbons through the sick, guilt-clotted legend of my creed-haunted cold forsaken race. My rhetoric swung round from steel's high promise to the precision of the well-gouged tool, tracing the logic and the vast glassed headlands, the clockwork horse, the comprehensive school, then so, by occasions chance, conceited, concerted, in enclave of my nation, but apart, the jigging dances and the lilting fiddle stirred the old rage and pity in my heart. The faces and the voices blurring around me, the strong hands long familiar with the spade, the whiskey tinctured breath, the pious buttons, called up a people endlessly betrayed by our own weakness, by the wrongs we suffered in that long twilight over bog and glen, by force, by famine, and by glittering fables, which gave us martyrs when we needed men, by faith which had no charity to offer, by poisoned memory and by ready wit, with poverty corroded into malice, to hit and run and howl when it is hit. This is our fate, 800 years disaster, crazily tangled with the book of chaos, the dream's distortion and the land's division, the midnight raiders and prison cells. Yet like Leah's children banished through the waters, our hearts still listen for the landward bells. He's such a hardcore guy, super academic. I love that. But I think that brings all the more value to the parts of his work where he approaches, with imagery and stuff like that, just shadings of light, or whatever they call that stuff. I'm one of these people that pretends not to understand what any of that means. Like Dustin Hoffman or something like that. would I? You know what I mean?